Traveling with your girls will be loads of fun. From your own little corner of the council to the rest of the country and the rest of the world, the travel possibilities are endless. This training is designed to help you plan your trip with your girls for whatever adventure awaits you. You will be introduced to supporting resources to assist with planning and following council policy and guidelines. But first, you might be wondering, what is a troop trip? A troop trip is an opportunity for girls to learn, have fun, and experience adventure. Learning how to plan a trip should be a progressive experience for a Girl Scout, one that starts at a point she is ready to handle. For example, a Brownie Girl Scout may not be ready to travel for an overnight and should start with a simple trip instead. Once a troop understands the planning process, girls may progress to longer trips. As girls grow in their travel skills and experience, they can better manage the planning process and take longer trips. Travel should be included at every level of Girl Scouting. Day trips are great opportunities for daisies and older to travel around their community. These trips can take place during a meeting time. A day trip is a trip that is typically under 150 miles from the troop's meeting location. These trips could include a trip to the fire station, the movies, or a local park. Day trips may also include a day at the Newport Aquarium or the Kentucky Horse Park. Simple overnight trips are trips that are usually only 1 or 2 nights away, under 150 miles, and are best suited for brownies and older. These trips can include an overnight at the zoo, troop camping, or an overnight at the planetarium. Simple overnight trips include trips to our Girl Scout campsites. Prior to camping, you must have out-and-about training and troop camp training. Extended trips are over 150 miles away or are over 2 nights within the United States. These trips are best suited for juniors and older. On extended trips, troops possibly take several modes of transportation and stay in multiple lodging sites. These trips could include a trip to the birthplace of Girl Scouting in Savannah, Georgia, or a trip to Mammoth Cave for 4 days. International trips are for girls seniors and older. Girls should be at least 14 years of age to travel outside of the United States. Girls should be familiar with the planning process of trips and be ready to travel internationally. Usually, the troop starts planning international trips 2 to 3 years in advance. These trips could even include a trip to one of the 4 world centers. Before your troop starts planning a trip, it's important for you to ask yourself a few questions. Do I know the girls well enough before the trip takes place? Am I physically and emotionally equipped to handle a trip of this duration? Am I experienced with traveling? Am I experienced in focusing on all the details involved in travel planning? Am I comfortable with leading my girls through public places and being responsible for them all? Am I comfortable with whatever forms of transportation are needed for trips? If you are comfortable being responsible for the troop on a trip and feel comfortable and experienced enough to help them plan their trip, then you are ready to get started planning. If you're not an experienced traveler or feel overwhelmed at the thought of leading a larger group of girls through the planning process, don't hesitate to ask other troop parents for assistance, insight, and expertise. Parents want to be involved in their girls' plans and will typically be excited to help. They may even volunteer to chaperone with you. As we learned earlier, trip planning requires progress for girls. You must also ask yourself, are they ready? Traveling with Girl Scouts has a few key components. Trips must have a purpose or a theme. Happen on a progression scale. Follow GSWRC policies and guidelines. Trips also must be girl-led. Trips should have a purpose or a theme. They should include the Girl Scout leadership experience. Ask, why are the girls going? What do they hope to learn or accomplish? Will they be exploring new cultures? How much of the trip will be educational? Are they traveling to meet other Girl Scout troops and make new friends? Will they work toward earning a badge, journey award, or other recognition? Do they want to perform a community service project in addition to their recreational activities? Trips happen on a progression scale. Before going on a trip, even a walking trip away from your meeting place, you should evaluate your girls for readiness. Are the girls comfortable being away from home? Do the girls know how to practice good manners? Can girls get along for a longer period of time? Have they traveled before? How far have they traveled, and for how long? Have they ever been on school trips, group trips, or family trips? It's important to keep in mind the diversity of your girls' life experiences. Some girls may be very experienced travelers, and others may have never left home without family or traveled at all. It's okay if the girls plan a trip that stretches them beyond their comfort zone a little, but not enough that they become overwhelmed. Remember to evaluate your girls for trip readiness. Even older girls who may be inexperienced with travel might not be comfortable with trips that are suggested for their age or grade. Do some pre-trip team-building activities and go on small, short test trips before embarking on a longer adventure farther away from home. Trips are girl-led from the very start. Girls should be as involved and responsible for the planning of the trip as their age level allows. Girls can brainstorm, research, problem solve, make decisions, plan the budget, plan for downtime, and so on. They can even come up with their own contingency plan. When planning trips with girls, you can start with 6 basic questions to guide them along the planning process. Who? Where? Why? When? How? What? Can all the girls go? Will we include parents? Who will help plan our trip? Do we know anyone who has been before? Who of us has traveled before? Where are we going? How far will we travel? What are the destination directions? Is a pre-visit necessary? Where will we stay? Why do we want to travel? Why do we want to go to this destination? Will we work on recognitions? Do we want to do community service? When? When are we going? Is everyone available at that date? Does that date interfere with school or other events already planned? What? What will we be learning? What will we do when we get there? What will we do along the way? What will we do when we get home? What will we need to bring? What notification do we need to give the council? What paperwork needs to be completed? How? How much will it cost? How do we plan the activities? How will we get there? How many drivers will we need? Girls need to do some advanced planning for things such as how long to get there, what modes of transportation will they take? What restaurants will they stop at? Are there places to use the bathroom? What visiting hours are there? Do we need reservations? Is there bad weather? What about a backup plan? Do we need to schedule seating rotations on the trip, or can everybody get along sitting in the same seat all the time? What about special interest or small group plans? What about activity planning? When the girls are planning their trip, and as you guide them, consider the following: leadership, cost, and safety. For an extended trip, has a parent meeting been held with a member of the service team not involved with the trip on hand to hear the back home plans? Are the girls and leaders registered with the Girl Scouts of Kentucky's Wilderness Road? Are girls prepared with the skills and knowledge needed to derive benefits from the trip? Are most of the registered troop members involved in planning and participating in the trip? What is the cost of site rentals and accommodations? What about equipment rentals and transportation, food, and additional insurance? How will these costs be covered? Will each participant pay a portion? Is there going to be a troop money earning project? Will troop treasury funds be used for Girl Scout policies? Has the proposed budget been developed to include all of these things? For safety, ask what contingency plans have been made for sickness of girls or adults while they're on the trip. Who is the first aid CPR certified adult accompanying the troop? What activities might prove to be potential problems, and how will these be handled? What activities are not allowed? While the girls are the main planners and leaders of their adventure, as a chaperone, it is very important for you to focus on the safety of the girls and to use the resources available to know the policies and guidelines for trips that GSWRC has in place. Remember, every adult in Girl Scouting is responsible for the physical and emotional safety and well-being of every Girl Scout. For more in-depth information, as well as the readiness evaluation tools, examples of trips, girl planning techniques, required skills, and trainings for different trips and tips on working with parents and group management, as well as tips on personal gear, see the additional resources for a guide to Girl Scout troop travel. On all trips, you should follow the girl-to-adult ratio guidelines outlined in Volunteer Essentials, Chapter 4. Those ratios apply to girls that are camping with the additional requirement that at least one of those adults is a troop camp trained adult. It is important to discuss with girls and parents what the expected behaviors are on the trip, as well as personal responsibility for tools and equipment. Consider using a behavior contract as a way to get all the girls and parents on board with the group's expectations. Discuss with girls and parents a basic safety plan. Include details such as never display a girl's names when strangers can see them, coordinate clothing so girls can be seen in a crowd, have designated meeting times and places if you separate or get separated, have a buddy system in place. Make sure girls know when it is okay to talk to strangers and who to call if they need help. Discuss general first aid with girls and parents before leaving. Remember that GSWRC requires a first aider to be present on every trip and that the troop has access to a first aid kit at all times. Focus on accident prevention for the activities you will be engaging in. Be knowledgeable of the information found in the Safety-Wise chapter of Volunteer Essentials and all relevant safety activity checkpoints. Have an in-town contact person that parents who do not go on the trip can contact for updated information. Have a scheduled check-in time. Even with all the best of planning, accidents can still happen. If an accident occurs, contact emergency personnel as needed. Contact the girl's family immediately. Complete an accident report form for any accident that might require medical attention. In case of serious injury, hospitalization, or accidental death, immediately contact the council office or emergency contact number, which is 859-490-9406. You have now completed Part 1 of Planning Trips with Girl Scouts. Take a moment, write down the emergency contact number, or go ahead and put it in your phone, and then, when you're ready, start Part 2.